But let's move on to the predicted lineup and let's talk about the team news first and foremost. Ange Postecoglou has been talking in his press conference about the injuries and stuff. So what are they?
Yeah, so Maddison, good news on him. He trained today, and Postecoglou said he should be available for the weekend. Obviously, he's not completely guaranteed. He said as long as there's no more further setbacks today, he trained and with no pain. He said he could have trained yesterday, but he didn't. But he said at the moment, Maddison is going to be made available for tomorrow's game, so we expect him to be part of the team. But other than that, Gil is still out, Sessegnon's still out, Bentancur's still out. They're still kind of long-term injuries. Fraser Forster was back in the squad last week, so obviously he's fit to play as well. So no new injury problems, thankfully.
All right. And also positive news, by the way, on Rodrigo Bentancur, who could potentially be back next month, but I don't expect him to play next month or anything like that. But let's go on to the predicted lineup. And in goal is obviously going to be Vicario Venom, as he's been called. But look, a nervy display maybe in his first game, but second game, he really showed people what he's about.
Yeah, brilliant display against Man United, pretty much faultless. And I think in this game as well, it's going to be, I think he's going to have to do a lot more, maybe, in my opinion, he's going to have to do a lot more kind of coming out of his goal and sweep a keeper than maybe he did against Man United, where he played maybe a bit of a deeper line. I do expect that line to be a bit more aggressive again in this game. But I think he's capable of doing it. We saw Alisson had some trouble doing that again for Liverpool against Bournemouth, and he could have got himself sent off. But luckily for him, the ref only gave him a yellow. But I think Vicario's got to look at that and learn from those potential errors that Alisson made. But look, obviously Vicario's our number one keeper, so he plays.
On right back, we are going for Pedro Porro, siding with Pedro Porro on top of Emerson Royal, and we feel that the attacking threat that Porro could pose in this game could be really valuable.
I think so. Postecoglou was actually asked about Pedro Porro in his press conference, and he said, I'd be reticent to read into anything after 2 or 3 games. He performed well last week and performed well in pre-season as a fullback. He's got some attributes to the way we want to play. He is good with and without the ball, but again, he is 23. We have a great young back four at the moment. Emerson is in a similar boat, and they will develop as they go along. But given the fact that the biggest problem with Porro is his defensive ability, and he had a good game against Man United in that aspect, and he provides more going forward than Emerson, I think he'll be the one starting in this game. And I think at the moment, I wouldn't say it's his shirt to lose, but I think he's got the shirt at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, I'd also would say different games provide different threats, and it's great to have two very different right backs to a certain level in the squad. So I think Porro starts this game.
And it's also easy to forget that Emerson didn't really have a reason to drop him for the United game, so it wasn't like he deserved to be dropped. Yeah. So he could easily maybe just drop Porro for this game.
I would say maybe when we come up against the Arsenals and the Man Cities, maybe Emerson comes in for those kind of games. But let's move on to the centre-back positions. Right centre-back is obviously going to be Cuti Romero. And you know what? I've been really impressed so far with Romero. I thought he was really good against Manchester United. Obviously, he started well against Brentford, but went off early with the concussion injury. But I've noticed a difference in this early stage of Cuti Romero. I feel like he's demanding a lot more authority on that pitch and taking responsibility as well, which maybe we didn't see on a consistent basis in the Spurs shirt last season.
Yeah, maybe being part of the leadership group has really helped with that, being named vice captain. And you know, he was actually talking again in an exclusive interview about the vice captaincy. He said it was a beautiful surprise. I wasn't expecting it. I'm always grateful to have the trust of the club and the coach, and I'm always trying to transmit my energy to my teammates. It's a new role. I'm learning, but I have great examples of leadership from my former clubs and in Argentina. You have to ask the coach and what he saw in me, but I always give 100%. I have years left on my contract, and I'm very happy here. So I think that definitely it's maybe gave him that more responsibility, and I think that's probably what he needed, because we know he's a very rash player. We know he's a player who maybe sometimes is overly aggressive, and maybe having that more responsibility and leadership will make him think more about diving into tackles stupidly and doing those kind of things. And I think it's helping him and his relationship with his teammates as well.
Yeah, and I think it's a smart thing what Ange has done here with the leadership team. When you're talking about the vice captains and the captains, I was talking about this on David's show last night, and we were saying that with the three players, you got Maddison, you got Romero, you got Heung-min Son. Heung-min Son is like a leader for everyone. He's in like every single leadership group in the team. You got Romero, who kind of like, he's very close with the South American lot, the Spanish speaking lot, and he can speak up for them. And then you got Maddison, who's like obviously will be very key in like the English speaking kind of clique in the group. So I think like you've got someone that represents everyone in that leadership group, and they're all kind of potentially, apart from Sonny, they're all new players as well. So I think it's a very smart thing that Ange's done here.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to the left centre back, and that is Mickey van der Ven. Everyone's been very impressed with him, and with the pace that Solanke has, I think van der Ven will be really good to combat that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that he's really taken to life at Tottenham so far really comfortably in his first 2 games. I think he's really settled into the back four fairly seamlessly. I'm sure there'll be tougher tests for him to come, and he's really going to have to put his defensive ability to the test. But I really like him from what I'm seeing from Van der Ven. I'm sure he'll be very important in this game if we're going to win.
Moving on, and making up that back four on the left-hand side will be Destiny Udogie. And you know what? This guy just seems like he's been playing for Spurs for years. It's unbelievable. He's just taken to this team like a duck to water. And he's 20 years old. I mean, I've never seen a player that have come in from a different league at that age and just literally just hit the ground running like he's been here for years.
And make such an impact playing at like fullback as well, be so involved in the game, not shy on getting on the
Inverted fullback as well.
like taking people on. Defensively, he's so strong physically. He's really hard to take on, but going forward as well, not only does he get into the positions, but he seems to have quality once he gets into those positions as well. I'm super happy with Destiny Udogie. We obviously all had high hopes from what he was showing in Udinese, but I really didn't expect him to be this good so early on. So let's hope he carries it on.
Yeah, 100%. He's completely exceeded everyone's expectations of him so far. But let's run through that back line with you guys one more time. Exactly the same as we saw at Manchester United. So Vicario in goal, Porro right back, Udogie left back, Van der Ven and Romero in the centre back positions. And in the 6 is obviously going to be Yves Bissouma, 2 man the match performances so far. And I would even go as far to say as the best performing player in the Premier League so far.
Yeah, after 2 games, I think he's absolutely been exceptional. I think he's going to be in for another tough game in this one, but I expect him again to come out on top in that midfield battle. I've seen how Bournemouth, what they tried to do against Liverpool, really flood the central areas and cause problems for those central players when trying to build up from the back. But I think they're going to come in for a different kind of threat when it comes to Yves Bissouma, someone who's extremely press resistant, so strong, so good at dribbling out difficult situations, and I think he's going to thrive in this game again. So yeah, obviously Bissouma has to start, and what a start to the season he's had. And then another player who was absolutely exceptional in that game against Manchester United is Pape Matar Sarr. And these 2 players, Bissouma and Sarr, when you're talking about dominating midfield in matches, especially in this game, you got to look to these 2 and say, like, you know, we're going to dominate this midfield this weekend. Yeah, they provide so much legs and energy, but also, like, obviously Sarr got a goal. Bissouma's starting to, like, create chances in the final third as well. They're providing quality, not just off the ball, but also on the ball. And I think Sarr, 100%, he took that shirt and like he's never going to let it go, like he's never going to let anyone else play in his position. And it was a phenomenal performance. Ollie Skip couldn't really do that against Brentford, but once Sarr came in, it was a completely different showing, full of quality, and he's absolutely earned another start for sure. And then obviously to make up that midfield 3, as we mentioned earlier on, James Maddison, we feel that he's going to come straight in with the injury. He was left the last game in a protective boot and on crutches, but Ange Postecoglou said that he has been training and he should be available for selection. Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about Lo Celso getting his opportunity in this game, but it looks like Maddison is going to beat the clock in terms of being able to be fit for this game. So I expect him to come straight back in. I think he's a very important player for the team. Postecoglou was actually asked about Lo Celso in his press conference, and he said Gio has been really unlucky that he hasn't had any game time, but again, I've been really impressed with him. So hopefully soon he gets an opportunity to show that he can be part of this team. I just feel like maybe he'll get some minutes later on in this game, but I feel like Maddison is going to get the nod from the start. Yeah, and also Romero came out speaking about him as well and said that, Lo Celso really wants to stay at Spurs. He feels happy here. I can't remember the exact direct quote, but he was talking about how involved he is. Yeah, he said Gio is a fantastic player. He can bring so much to Tottenham. I hope he can stay and he has chances. I know he wants to stay. He's willing. He wants to compete and have a great year in the Premier League. So very encouraging quotes from Romero, because obviously the narrative definitely going to some was Lo Celso definitely wanted out of Tottenham and he wanted to leave. So that's, either that seems to have changed or that never was the case. But look, we'll see about Lo Celso during the season. I'm hopeful. I reckon with Maddison maybe having this injury, maybe later in the game, Lo Celso can get some minutes.
All right, so that is the midfield three. Let's move on to the front line. On the right-hand side, we're going to look at Decky. And look, I have been fairly disappointed with him so far. He did grab himself an assist against Manchester United and got himself a little bit more involved. But I want to see more from him.
Yeah, we want to see obviously him create more chances. I think he's got a good opportunity in this game to really take his fullback to the sword and hopefully give him a really tough afternoon. I don't think he's been terrible since in the first two games. I think he's been a bit of a mixed bag. I think he's probably been more good than bad, but let's hope that he really starts to shine like he was in his first 6 months. And
then up top, we're going to look at Richarlison, who hasn't impacted games in the first two games. We know, though, in Ange Postecoglou's systems that number 9s can go missing for 20 minutes periods in games, not see much of the ball, not have many touches, but they are usually there in the 6-yard box to really finish off the chances when they get created by the other players. But that just hasn't seemed to materialise as of yet.
I think it can almost be like a selfless role for the team a lot of the time. Like he's pressing, he's going to play on the last line a lot, like because that really helps stretch the back line. It creates space for the likes of Maddison to play into in the penalty area. So a lot of the time he's either caught offside or is not involved, but I think it goes under the radar how crucial that kind of role is for the team as much as he's not getting involved. But yes, we definitely want to see him more involved. We want to see him have more chances on goal. And I actually do think this kind of game could be a bit more perfect for him than maybe like the Brentford game was, or maybe even the Man United game, because they got better quality centre-backs. But I think Bournemouth should give him some opportunities to really start getting chances and hopefully get some shots off.
And he just desperately needs a goal, Richarlison. You can see that it's affecting him, him not scoring. And I feel like he's very much a confidence player, Richarlison. And I feel maybe when one goal, maybe not one, but maybe when like the second goal comes, you might see the floodgates open a little bit more and he'll play with a bit more freedom.
Yeah, I hope so.
And then to finish off that starting 11, obviously going to be our captain, Heung-min Son, on the left-hand side. A much better performance against Manchester United than it was against Brentford. So hopefully more of the same, if not even better.
Yeah, and what I liked about it as well, he did start to pick up the ball centrally on a lot more occasions and was probably unlucky not to score with a really good block shot from Luke Shaw. Hopefully I see more of that from him in this game. And I really do back him up against Max Aarons to give him a tough time when they're isolated and he's able to really take him on 1v1 and force opportunities. I reckon Son could be... Could fancy his chances in those kind of situations. So I'm backing Son to have another good game in this one.
All right, so there you have it. That is our predicted lineup. Let's run through it one more time with you guys. It's going to be Vicario in goal, right back Porro, left back Udogie, centre back positions Romero and Van der Ven, Bissouma, Maddison and Sarr in the central positions with Son and Kulusevski supporting Richarlison. We've gone for the exact unchanged lineup from the performance from the 2-0 win against Manchester United. I went for 3-1 to Spurs. Sim has gone for 2-1 to Tottenham against Bournemouth at the Vitality. So that is your predicted lineup and predicted scorelines. Let me know yours in the comments section below.